Hello, good evening, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order. It is now 6:02 p.m. I would like to see who is present. Vice President Ramirez. He notified me that he will not be able to attend tonight. Clerk Cabrera.
Present.
Board Member Magaña.
Present.
Board Member Uribe.
Present.
And I'm present as well. At this time, I would go on to number 2, public comment. Legal counsel, do we have any written public comments for closed session if we have any?
Good evening, President Gutierrez. We did not receive any written public comments for closed session. Dr. Ewan, do we have any public comments for closed session in real time?
No calls for items on closed session.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I would like to have a motion and a second to recess into closed session.
So moved.
Second,
Perfect. I heard Clerk Cabrera as a second. Roll call vote. Vice President Ramirez, absent. Clerk Cabrera,
aye.
Board Member Magaña,
Aye.
Board Member Uribe,
Aye.
and an aye for me as well. We will recess into closed session. All right, welcome back, everyone. I would like to reconvene this meeting at 6:27 p.m. I would like to call this meeting to order, and Mr. Ellington, will you lead us in the flag salute?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes. Will everyone please stand where you are and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Ellington. At this time, legal counsel, can you please provide a closed session report out?
President Gutierrez, can we do a roll call again?
Yes, of course. Vice President Ramirez, he is absent. Clerk Cabrera,
Present.
Board Member Magaña,
Present.
Board Member Uribe,
Present.
and I'm present as well.
Okay, at this time, President Gutierrez and members of the board, the closed session report out is as follows. We convened into closed session at approximately 6:07 p.m. Present in closed session via video conference were President Gutierrez, Clerk Cabrera, Board Member Magaña, Board Member Uribe, Legal Counsel Copado, Dr. Scavarna, Dr. Ewan, Mr. Ellington, Ms. Hakopian. As to item number A, Ms. Hakopian provided a briefing to members of the board. And with regard to that matter, the following is applicable to report. In closed session, the board took action to issue a notice of non-reelection to probationary certificated employee identified by employee number ZH5342825 pursuant to Education Code Section 44929.21 subsection B, and directed the superintendent or designee to send the appropriate legal notices. Within this regard, said action was moved by approving resolution number 21-2022, and the vote was as follows. Board Member Uribe made the motion. President Gutierrez seconded the motion, and the motion carried with a 4-1 vote, with Vice President Ramirez being absent. As to item B in the closed session agenda, I provided a briefing and update to members of the board. By final action, motion carried to approve the settlement agreement with a 4-1 vote, with Vice President Ramirez being absent and the other members are voting aye. As to item C, as reflected in the closed session agenda, this is regarding a resignation and separation agreement. So specifically, I provided a briefing and an update to members of the board. By a 4-1 vote, motion carried to approve the finalized resignation and separation agreement and mutual general releases in relation to Marlene Pitchford. The motion was made, motion was made by Clerk Cabrera, with second motion by Board Member Magaña. The vote was 4-1, again with one absent, that being Vice President Ramirez. And the second matter as to item C was not discussed and will be deferred for another matter, for another meeting. I would like to reflect that at 6:14 p.m., Ms. Hakopian and Dr. Ewan did exit closed sessions after discussing item A. Closed session discussions concluded at 6:26 p.m. and that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, legal counsel. At this time, I would like to move on to item number 6, approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Let's do roll call vote. Vice President Ramirez, he is absent. Clerk Cabrera,
Aye.
Board Member Magaña.
Aye.
Board Member Uribe,
Aye.
and an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. I would like to call on legal counsel.
Thank you, President Gutierrez. At this time, we will be making the announcement regarding public comment. For members of the public who wish to provide public comment in real time during tonight's meeting, we direct you to the instructions under item 13 on tonight's agenda. Please ensure to provide public comment at the designated time for public comment by dialing 323-887-7900 extension 2494, or by clicking the raise hand button on the Zoom application, or dial *9 to raise your hand from a phone. If members of the public dial in telephonically and the line is busy or goes straight to voicemail, please hang up and try again. Public speakers may choose but need not identify themselves to the Board of Education. However, if any follow-up may be required, providing contact information is encouraged. Accordingly, members of the public should be prepared to identify themselves, provide contact information, and the agenda matter they wish to address. As you may recall, also, the board may limit the overall time of public comment to no more than 30 minutes, or limit the time per speaker to 1 minute for purposes of efficiency to ensure the district can carry on with its business as agendized. This will remain at the discretion of President Gutierrez and the board if they wish to do so. Again, for further directions and information, please refer to item number 13 on tonight's agenda.
Thank you, legal counsel. At this time, we'll move on to item we'll move on to item number 7, adoption of the agenda. Dr. Yuen, are there any modifications to tonight's agenda?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Item 14C and 14D were revised. Copies have been provided to you, and copies have been uploaded to the website for the public. Item 6G has been pulled from the agenda, and items 9A6 and 9B7 have been provided to you, and copies have been uploaded to the website for the public.
Thank you, Dr. Yuen. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with the modifications as indicated by Dr. Yuen? Motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Let's do a roll call vote. Vice President Ramirez, absent. Clerk Cabrera.
Aye.
Board Member Magaña.
Aye.
Board Member Uribe.
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, I would like to move on to student board members. I would like to call on Dr. Yuen.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm taking a public comment call. Give me 1 second.
Yes, of course.
All right, I apologize. So we do have some student board members here. I'd like to go down the list. Sandy Membrano from the Applied Technology Center High School. If you are here, please unmute yourself and share your report.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Good evening, President Gutierrez, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Scaverna, and the Executive Cabinet. My name is Sandy Membrano, and I'm the student body president for the ASB of the Applied Technology Center. We're extremely happy to report that many of our seniors received acceptance letters to the various Cal States and out-of-state schools that include the University of Portland, the University of Hawaii at Manaus, and then NYU. One interviewed with Columbia University, and a handful of them interviewed with Stanford. We are now left eagerly waiting to hear back from the universities of California this month. In addition, Rio Hondo Community College visited our campus this week to support students enrolling in the community college system in the fall. This month, March, we're starting off our college week for our class of 2023 juniors. The week will consist of information on financial aid, the college process, selection of right fit schools and majors, along with a door decorating contest and alumni presentations. ATC will also be hosting various parent nights regarding college requirements and financial aid. Pathways at ATC also did virtual presentations to middle school students on the 28th of February to MOI. They're also planning to do another presentation for the students of BGI on the 3rd of March. The Chef Pathway Seniors opened Bistro 22 to faculty and staff this past Thursday, offering a 3-course lunch meal. The bistro will continue to open on Thursdays during lunch, and reservations are highly recommended to help be better prepared. We invite you to come and experience a meal planned, prepared, and executed by ATC chef seniors. Our ASB also held another clothing drive on the Saturday of February 5th and is planning to hold another drive on the 19th of March from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at our school's parking lot if you'd like to support their cause. The class of 2022 also happily prepared activities for Counselor Appreciation Week for the week of February 7th to February 11th. Our class of 2024 class also worked on their t-shirt designing contest that ended on the 22nd of February. We also prepared an all-inclusive activity for students to send Valentine's Day grams, which were hand-delivered by our ASB on the 11th of February. On the 16th of February, we had our traditional pathway games that not only included our pathways, but also our freshmen. It consisted of team games like balloon pop, Oreo eating contest, water balloon relay, and recycling race. This past Saturday on the 26th, our students participated in a science Olympiad that consisted of a collaboration of underclassmen and the seniors as coaches. That wasn't our only event on that Saturday night, as we had the pleasure of hosting a winter formal for 128 guests. We had dinner served at 6 p.m., which was prepared by the Chef Pathway volunteers. And additionally, got a magician and DJ for entertainment and a photo booth to capture their memories. Dance was only $25 per ATC student and $30 for guests, but attempt to include more students we are preparing a March hangout, which is being planned to serve the students for free. This week, on the 1st of March, a party gras was prepared to treat the students with a free carnival experience, was well received as they hung out with their friends and interacted with their facilitators outside of the classroom. The TLC Club is also preparing for 2 upcoming events this month. On the 11th of March, they are hosting a free movie night for the community that will provide a free movie, food, and drinks, which was all fundraised from their weekly Friday recyclings. On the 19th, they are also planning a chalk art contest. Some other notable events by this club include a barbecue fundraiser on the April 9th and a car show on May 7th. Those events are not the only ones in the works, as our ASB has both a lip sync battle and a talent show coming soon, along with focusing on ASB elections for the 2022-2023 school year. That is all for the Applied Technology Center Student Board report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
All right, next we have Emily Maris from Bell Gardens High School.
Hello, good evening, President Gutierrez, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, and Executive Cabinet. My name is Emily Mares, and I'm the student body president from Bell Gardens High School. I want to start off with announcing how we held a blood drive partnered with the American Red Cross, ARC, on February 23rd, 2022. It took place from 9 to 3 p.m. at our big gym, and there was an amazing turnout. Heroes from students to staff to outside members of the community, helping with the blood shortage of ARC. Mr. Robert Torres was our amazing ARC coordinator who guided us through the process. We would like to thank ASB students for becoming ambassadors and promoting the great cause. Congratulations to drill teams, large and small military teams, for placing first and second place at El Dorado High School and Woodbridge High School dance celebration competitions. Our campus has concluded its winter sports season, and we are bursting with pride. Perseverance paid off for our student athletes and coaches. We are proud of our student athletes for their resiliency to make up athletic competitions that were canceled due to a surge in COVID. Girls water polo finished a spectacular season with round 1 CIF action. Our boys basketball team advanced to CIF quarterfinals, a feat that had not been attained since the 60s, and they were back-to-back Almond League champs. Our Lady Lancers basketball team successfully made it to the second round of CIF and finished another season demonstrating their commitment to being a force to reckon with. The boys soccer advanced to round 2 of CIF and are ready to come back stronger next year. The girls soccer team finished with the round of 1 of CIF action, proving that this young team is poised to improve. The wrestling program at BJHS is full of underclassmen that believed in their journey and capped off a successful season, becoming undefeated league champions with an 11-1 record. Sophomore female wrestler Catherine Hernandez had a sensational season with her undefeated record and no points scored on her. That's well. She placed at CIF Masters and began journey to state competition where she culminated as number 6 in state as a sophomore. We are beyond proud of every student athlete, coach, and guardians who supported BG athletes. On behalf of Mighty Lancers, I would like to congratulate Montebello High School for their outstanding athletic feats went through season. Female wrestler Galilea Garcia finished as runner-up in state. That's remarkable. The boys soccer team was runner-up in CIF's Division number 2 this past weekend, which is again impressive. And thank you all, MESD athletes, for putting our district on the radar for high school athletes. The Spirit Group celebrated with 2 pep rallies to honor winter sports and promote student engagement during nutrition. It sure feels good to celebrate accomplishment and rally for our teams. Our boys basketball had a special rally to send them off to Santa Barbara. Thank you to board members Ms. Magana, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Ewan, CEO Don Ellingson for helping us send off our history-making team into competition. We eagerly await for all amazing feats spring athletes will achieve and wish them the best of luck. We are excited to announce the sales for prom and grad night will begin this Friday. Our prom will take place on May 14, 2022 at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Grand Night at Magic Mountain on May 26, 2022. We are working on prom fashion show to showcase a collaboration amongst ASB, Senior Favorites, and Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, FIDM Club, scheduled for April 13. Some Lancers participated in the Science Olympiad, where they tested their science knowledge, and we are thankful for their participation. The After School All-Stars program continues to create innovative classes that spark student interests such as American Sign Language, FIFA tournaments, and gaming. During the week of March 7 to 11, 2022, we will host social emotional learning SEL activities as we participate in a national campaign titled #SEL Day for a second year in a row. The objective of this movement is finding common ground, pursuing common good. A themed week has been created as following. Monday, can't stop the feeling, be positive. Tuesday, lean on me, friendship. Wednesday, life is a highway, goal setting. Thursday, don't stop believing, self-esteem. And Friday, eye of the tiger, perseverance. An SEL student rally will take place on Tuesday at Nutrition with activities and video collaborations with Active Minds Club to be showcased to all students on Wednesday. Lastly, at Bell Gardens High School, we await the much anticipated WASC visit, where we will be proud to showcase all of our amazing work that has been done these past 6 years from all stakeholders. Our student groups, Focus on Learning, FOO groups, School Improvement Committee, SIC, parent groups, administrative team, leadership team, certificated staff, classified staff, WASC leads. Would like to thank our WASC coordinator, Elizabeth Lowe, for guiding us through the journey. We are ready for you, WASC. Are there any questions from the board members? No. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Right, next we have Lily E. Chung from Montebello High School.
Good evening, Board President Gutierrez, members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Skvarna, Executive Cabinet, and members of the audience. My name is Lily Ejan, and I am the Associate Student Body President at Montebello High School. The month of February was very exciting for Montebello High School. We had a month full of accomplishments, fun, and school pride. February was a month full of pep rallies for us. We held multiple pep rallies for our girls and boys basketball team. We had the opportunity to show our girls and boys basketball that we are proud of them and how far they've come in their season. After basketball season sadly ended, we got excited for our soccer and held multiple pep rallies to commemorate all their accomplishments. Our boys soccer had a very, very long journey this season, and I couldn't be more proud to say that we made it all the way to CIF finals, where we sadly fell short to Redondo Union. Our last game, we had the privilege to have a Ruder bus where our students got to travel with the team and cheer them on. Because we came in second place, we had the chance to go to state yesterday, where we sadly lost. But needless to say, we are so proud of our boys and how far they've come this season. Our girls volleyball and Chinese club had the chance to sell Valentine's Day grams and just basically spread the Valentine's Day cheer around. We have been commemorating our students by doing a standout student of the month. For Super Tuesday, we had the privilege to have a very nice big pep rally. We had performances by cheer, dance, and drill. And during this pep rally, we announced our top 10 seniors. We gave a big shout out to Brian Chun for being on school site council for 4 years. We also gave a huge shout out to Remy Aquino and Jerry Hernandez for performing in major events this past month, such as the Super Bowl and the Rose Parade. We also commemorate our 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade honor roll students. Mr. Duarte also announced that I won the first place for Rotary Speech Contest. We hosted a few games such as a siblings rivalry tic-tac-toe game, a student versus faculty tug of war, and musical chairs. We also launched our Wellbeing Center. This is where you can seek out resources for your own well-being. You can talk to our counselors, and just basically find out resources where you can learn about what you're feeling and how you're feeling at that moment. We also have an after-school all-stars program where our teachers stay after school and help out students who may need help or just need a place to hang out and do their homework. Speech and debate also had the chance to host state qualifiers this past weekend at our school, which had an amazing turnout. Euler TV made a virtual tour for our incoming freshmen so they don't get lost next year. And ASB is in the midst of planning a movie night where we can give our students a chance to hang out with their friends. And also it's a way to give them a distraction from a long month to come that will eventually lead into finals and AP exams. As the FAFSA deadline was creeping up on us, Ms. Brenzel, our college counselor, went to our seniors' classrooms and dedicated a period to just helping students fill out their FAFSAs and making sure they've completed it and are caught up. As the end of March approaches, we as ASB are working with our amazing college counselor, Ms. Brenzel, by planning a survey for our seniors, which will be on May 2nd. And that's it. Thank you for your time and acknowledgement. Are there any questions?
No questions. Thank you so much, Lily. Have a great night.
Next, we have Samantha Hernandez from Sure High School.
Good evening, President Gutierrez, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, and the Executive Cabinet. My name is Samantha Hernandez, and I'm the student body president from Sure High School. Today, I will be discussing matters from the month of February and the upcoming month of March. There was a push for the seniors to complete their FAFSA, which was due today, actually. We had posters around the school encouraging seniors to finish and get it complete and turn it in. To entice students, the administration actually had raffles. So if you've completed your FAFSA, they would put your name in like a raffle, and then you would win gift cards to to food places, to restaurants, to Starbucks. There's a bunch of different places. About 50% of our seniors completed their FAFSA, so I guess it worked. Our girls and our boys varsity soccer made it to quarterfinals in CIF. The girls competed against the Webb School, and the boys competed against Weisburn Da Vinci. We had several students like Thea Lim, Rebecca G, Audrey Sparks, Jerry Chen, and others who competed in the Science Olympiad last Saturday on February 26th. Our girls' beach volleyball tryouts took place for the first time this year. And I think this is the first time they're doing beach volleyball for the district, actually, right? I think so. Our first track meet was against Garfield on the 24th of February. Our winter homecoming was on February 4th, and it consisted of a balloon drop. That was really hard to put up. It was at the top of the big gym. And once we won, it was cool because it was our rivalry game. Our senior night, and once we won, the balloons dropped from the ceiling. We also had posters and rope lights up, and Sammy the Spartan was up. He's an inflatable we have at school. Our boys volleyball played Pioneer High School yesterday, and they actually won with the score of 3-0. Our ASB and Renaissance had a teacher luncheon 3 days ago, I think, to show the students' appreciation for some of our teachers. cheer won third in U.S. Cheer Nationals, and our song team placed in fifth. Our senior Galilea Garcia, we're very, very extremely proud of her for making it to second in her weight class in CIF state wrestling. She'll be representing SURE in nationals at Virginia Beach on March 25th, and we're going to have a couple of rallies just to support her during that week. Valentine's Day grams were also passed by clubs to raise money and just to promote school spirit. There was a shaky fundraiser for Avid, and that Avid has a talent show which they use to fundraise for money for the club, and that'll be taking place on March 11th. I know there's dancers, there's people that are doing dancing, singing, and I know it'll be really fun. Our drill won first in their kicks category, their military category, and the most outstanding awards at Sierra Vista High School on February 19th at the Sharp competition. Our girls water polo played Corona for their last CIF competition. Although they lost, we're still very proud. Our color guard took second in a competition at Bellflower High School, I think 2 weeks ago. And our school has an upcoming blood drive on March 23rd, which will be hosted by the American Red Cross. Alumni, students, parents, and of course, other people who are willing to donate are able to come and donate blood with all the COVID regulations in place. That's all the updates I have during this time. Are there any members from the board?
Thank you so much, Samantha.
Thank you.
Next, we have Aranza Delgado from Vail High School.
Good evening, Madam President Gutierrez, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Scrivana, and the Executive Cabinet. My name is Fernando Delgado. I am the historian for Vail High School, and I will be filling in for our president, Ana Delgado, who was unfortunately unable to attend today's meeting. In the month of February, we hosted a Spirit Week for Valentine's, and we had lunch activities. Our events were Vail Pride Day on Monday, Euphoria on Tuesday, Super Bowl Wednesday, Dress as Your Favorite Couple on Thursday, and finally, What's Your Valentine Status? Our lunch activities were X and O tic-tac-toe, Cupid Says, and a baseball game between our teachers and students. Of course, we won. We set up tables with various activities, such as an emoji punch board, where students received Valentine's related items and little toys. We also had a Valentine table where we were able to decorate our journals. Many students participated as well as teachers. It was a great turnout. We also started selling prom tickets and working on our details for prom. Our theme is Luxury Night. Next week, we're heading to the venue to pick out our tablescape details. Soon after, it will be graduation and grad night. Our ASB is also planning on doing one-day events instead of a whole week. For example, April Fool's Day, Cinco de Mayo. We will all include activities as well for those days and make it seem like any other Spirit Week day. Lastly, we are adding more students. Vail High School has now 297 students. We're also going to be playing against teachers at lunch in volleyball, kickball, and another baseball game. That concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
I hear no questions. Thank you so much, Fernando.
All right, thank you for your time and attention. Have a good afternoon.
All right, and do we have a representative from Montebello Community Day School? All right, I don't have a report from that school, so I think it's safe to move forward.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ewan. I would like to move on to item number 9, the study session, bond disclosure obligations and responsibilities, including primary market disclosure. I would like to call on Mr. Allington.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, members of our board, our superintendent, executive cabinet, our co-workers, and our community. Tonight, we're here to go through our required study session on bond disclosure obligations and responsibilities. This session is to train the Board of Education, the superintendent, as well as district staff that work on the bond. And it will be conducted tonight by Mr. Don Field from ORIC, joined by our municipal advisor, Mr. Adam Fieldman from Rolap and Associates. Mr. Field, I turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you and good evening. Madam President Gutierrez and Superintendent Scrivana, Cabinet. We have a couple of others that'll be joining in on the presentation. I'm wondering if it is easy, if someone there is able to share the PowerPoint.
Yes, Mr. Chen, can you please provide screen share for Don Field and his team?
Yeah, the screen share is enabled for all the panelists.
Okay. I'm gonna, Andrea, I'm wondering if you can pull that up for us.
Certainly.
Thank you. So, as Mr. Ellingson was indicating, tonight we are going to walk through some training for disclosure and securities law education. Wait for the PowerPoint to. Thank you, Andrea. So tonight we're going to be talking about two topics in securities laws. Primary market disclosure, which is the disclosure that you undertake when you are doing an offering directly to investors. We will also be talking about continuing disclosure, and that is sort of secondary market disclosure. That disclosure occurs annually, regardless of whether you are offering bonds to the market, and that provides investors information when they are trading their bonds between investors. It gives them current information. So we'll be talking about both topics, the primary and then continuing disclosure.
Mr. Field,
Yes.
I have a question. Could we possibly put it in presentation mode?
You know, unfortunately, it freezes my computer
okay.
when I do that. If someone else from the team would like to share it and they don't have the same issues, they can do that, but I just don't have that capability.
Okay, I just want to make sure our community members can see it, but it's okay.
So if we could move to the next slide, that'd be great. So disclosure obligations in general. Municipal issuers, cities, counties, school districts are not obligated to make disclosures unless they're required to by either the law or agreement. We list here the legal sites to the securities law under the Securities Act and the Securities Exchange Act. Municipal issuers, registration is not required like it is for corporate securities. But under both the Securities Act and the Exchange Act, municipalities are subject to the anti-fraud laws. And we're going to get into what that means in a minute. But there's a couple of sites here just for reference on what these security laws entail as far as which acts they come from. So can we move to the next slide? So when do the disclosure rules apply? The one rule in particular, Rule 10b-5, really encompasses the anti-fraud laws. And it comes into play when a bond issuer is speaking to the market. And that occurs in new offerings. When you're offering new bonds to the market, it occurs when you submit your annual continuing disclosure report to the EMA site for investors to review. It also occurs when you file a material event. As you'll hear in a moment, continuing disclosure not only requires you to file an annual report, but if certain events occur, then you have to immediately let the market know, and these anti-fraud laws apply there. Other circumstances, public statement by officials. If it's considered speaking to the market, the anti-fraud rules can apply. Usually political speech is viewed as okay, but if it's in connection with a bond offering and it's viewed as trying to influence investment decisions, the anti-fraud rules could apply those. So when the district especially is in a situation where you're offering bonds to the market, even political speech should be carefully thought through as far as what if you're speaking in public and it relates to the district's operations and finances. The same goes for the district's website. If the district's website is providing information, sometimes it could be viewed as a communication to the market, and so we have to be careful with that as well. One thing important to note is that confidentiality of items that you may be considered in closed session, or there's business concerns disclosing, political sensitivity. None of those things that allow you to sort of speak behind closed doors in closed session are exceptions to the disclosure rules. So if there's something that is not ready for public ears, what is the usual decision is that you're not going to be speaking to the bond market at that time. And so if you have material information that is important for investors to know, but you can't speak about it, then the decision usually is to delay until that topic can be discussed. Can we move to the next slide? So let's get into the specifics of what the anti-fraud rules look like. Under 10b-5, it is unlawful for any person to employ any device, scheme, artifice to defraud, to make any untrue statement of material fact, or omit to state a material fact necessary in order to make the statements made in light of the circumstances in which they were made, not misleading. So that's a mouthful. The important thing is to think of investors and what is material for investors to make an investment decision in the bonds that the district is offering. The hardest part of this is the omissions, because when you're just speaking to the market, you have to look not only at the disclosure document to determine is there anything misstated, but also is there anything not stated that would be important for the investors to think about. Some examples of this could be, I know you guys are recently looking at or involved with your negotiations. If there was a negotiations settlement that affected the district's finances through raises or benefits, it would be material for investors to know about that, and so it would be an omission not to discuss that in the disclosure document. So these, under 10b-5, these statements are made in connection with the purchase or sale of a security for the rule to apply. So next slide.
And so Don's spoken about some rules that govern primary market disclosure when you go to issue bonds and you're telling the market about those bonds and the issuer, the district in this case. But some of the big reasons why primary market disclosure is necessary is the district is issuing securities that are going to be traded in the municipal market. And investors have rights under federal securities laws to know certain information. And as Don just mentioned, that includes all material information. And this SEC has also been increasingly enforcing these rules that Don mentioned with regard to municipal financings And when all material information isn't provided or there is an omission, it can result in fines and personal liability for certain of those people involved. The district's primary market disclosure is known as the official statement. That's the document that will be published for investors. And it must contain all the information relevant to the bonds for that particular bond sale. And it's important to note that the official statement, while many consultants and advisors assist the district in preparing that, it is fundamentally the district's document, and the district is responsible for the content. One of the aspects of the official statement, the district's disclosure document, you'll hear it referred to as Appendix A, and that contains all of the information specific to the district's operations and finances, including matters that impact the general fund, budgeting, information about the district's pension and other OPEB and debt obligations. One of the questions that often comes up in the context of Appendix A is, when should projections be disclosed? And the general rule is that, there's no requirement that projections be created. But if projections exist, you have to ask if they're material. And if so, then it becomes important to include them in Appendix A. One example is first and second interim reports. Those contain projections. Those are important documents that can show trends in the district's finances, and so those are routinely included. Additionally, projections that relate to enrollment, for example, can be very relevant, especially if it's depicting a particular trend. And so the projections, though, that we include in the official statement, they don't then need to be updated in the district's continuing disclosure annual report. So it's just included in the OS as part of that primary market document. Don, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. So that was the primary market disclosure, and next we're moving into the continuing disclosure discussion. Again, continuing disclosure was required a little over a decade ago, so that bond issuers, local governments that do not issue bonds frequently are required to update the financial information in the market, because if a bond issuer were to issue bonds and then say not have any bond issuance activity for say 5 years, then there would be no current information for bondholders to be able to determine what a bond price between investors would be. And so this continuing disclosure obligation came into effect. And it really is a requirement on the underwriters that purchase and market the district's bonds, but they are not allowed to purchase your bonds unless you enter into an undertaking to provide continuing disclosure to the market. And it is particularly important, again, for infrequent issuers so that the market has current information. Next slide. So the anti-fraud rules apply when you provide your annual information to the market. When you enter into a continuing disclosure agreement, there's going to be certain things that you have to provide. It includes your audit and budgets, but depending on the type of bond financing, other information is required. For instance, if you were doing a voter-approved bond financing, the property tax makeup of your district is important, and so there's updated information regarding that. So again, the anti-fraud rules apply to this, and the hardest part, again, is making sure that you're not omitting material that's needed to make the information complete. An example of this, for instance, Andrea mentioned enrollment projections. We don't include in projections, but we sometimes do include enrollment or ADA figures in continuing disclosure. If you were presenting a table that showed a fairly stable enrollment level, but the district had information that was going to drop significantly, whether it was because a charter school entered the boundaries or some other reason. It could be an omission not to indicate that the expectation is that somewhat our seemingly stable enrollment was going to change in the next year or so. So again, the omissions are the things that you have to sort of sit back, think about, and make sure that the full picture is being delivered to the investor. Next slide. So the continuing disclosure obligation, the underwriters are required to have that in a written agreement. It could either be in the form of an agreement between the district and a dissemination agent or trustee, or it could be in the form of a continuing disclosure certificate. Typically, bond issuers have someone assist them with their continuing disclosure obligations, and the district's municipal advisor, Fieldman Roll-Up, helps with that role here. And we'll hear from them in a few slides. Next slide.
And so within the district's continuing disclosure obligation, there's 4 specific categories of ongoing information that are often required. And the first is certain annual financial information in the type that's presented in the official statement. And that's in addition to the district's audited financial statements. Continuing disclosure obligations also require notice of certain events within 10 business days, and then also notices of whenever you fail to meet that deadline, a failure notice as well. Turn it to you, Don.
Thank you. So the annual report, and you've probably seen this come to the board, requires a number of items, including the district's audited financial statements, other annual financial information that depends on the type of financing, as I mentioned before. Typically for GO bonds, it's all the taxpayer and assessed value related information that's helpful for the investors to evaluate the security for the bonds. The due date of these annual reports is detailed in the continuing disclosure agreement. It's important for bond issuers to make sure when they are entering into a new financing that their due dates are consistent, so that you're not having to report on different days, especially if there's one that is significantly earlier. Next slide, please. So again, the other information, it depends on the type of transaction. Some school districts do lease financings, known as certificates of participation. Those are generally supported by the district's general fund, and therefore there's more information relevant to that repayment source in the annual report. Again, a general obligation bond supported by property taxes, there's going to be a lot of information about the property tax base. And similarly, if there was a community facilities district, otherwise known as a Mello-Roos district, those are limited to a certain area, and the taxpayer information about those would be relevant for updates. So the types of information that you will see in these continuing disclosure agreements is going to depend on the type of financing, because that'll determine the relevance for investors. Next slide, please.
So in addition to the annual report that Dawn spoke about, there's also a requirement to provide notice of what are deemed significant events. And so there's 10 events where you must provide notice related to the bonds and in any case, and then 8 events where it's determined to be material. On the screen is the list of significant event notices that are required in all cases. And then the following slide will highlight the ones that are if material. But I wanted to give an opportunity for Jason and Adam to chime in if they'd like, as they assist the district in many of the monitoring aspects and then filing these notices.
Great. Thank you very much, Andrea. And good evening. My name is Jason Chung. I work with Adam Bauer at Field and Roll Lab. And just to summarize some of, add on to a few of the previous slides, the district has 10 series of general obligation bonds currently outstanding, along with 1 certificate of participation. And luckily, all of these obligations have very similar reporting requirements. And so it's very convenient to do an annual report, which was also presented to your board on February 16th, a single report that covers all of the obligations at one time. And so it's very useful to do that. And for these significant event notices as well, many of these occurrences are events that school districts likely won't need to report on given their low likelihood, like the delinquency of principal and interest payments. With general obligation bonds, it's pretty much whatever the county treasurer is required to levy is what they will do so. And also another unlikely event would be a bond insurance policy draw, but others are more common, such as a bond redemption. The district has done bond refinancings in the past. Whenever that undertaking has occurred, a bond redemption notice is required to be provided to bondholders. Also, underlying and insure bond rating changes have also occurred within the district, and the district has also filed those as well to be compliant.
Thanks, Jason. And so to continue on, SEC Rule 15C212, which Dawn has mentioned, also requires that when issuers go to do primary market disclosure, when going to issue bonds, they have to disclose in that official statement any instances of non-compliance with their continuing disclosure undertaking for the past 5 years. And so if there was a late filed annual report or a late filed rating change or any of these event notices, issuers must disclose that in their official statement. And so, one of the incentives for staying on top of the annual report and then filing timely event notices is you don't have to disclose these failures or these late filings, and that improves investor relations, and it also signals to the market that the issuer is managing its affairs well.
So
I'm sorry, I have a question. If we go one slide back, the voluntary disclosure incentives for compliance, was that it? Or was it 21 maybe? Maybe I'm looking at the wrong. Can we look at slide 21?
Sure, Dawn is just about to address this. Is this the slide?
Oh no, maybe it's 19. I'm so sorry. I like, there was one where I had the significant event notices. Do those go out as we're going out to the market or after to the investors of the bond?
So those are basically after the fact. So once the district has issued a series of bonds, it enters into this continuing disclosure certificate or agreement, and it commits to providing ongoing information to the market. And one of the forms that it does that in is in these significant event notices. So if any of these occurrences happen related to the bonds, in this list, if they are deemed material, then a notice filing occurs, and Jason and his team work with the district on preparing that.
Got it. And that has to be disclosed within 10 days?
10 business days of the event, yes.
Thank you for the clarification.
Of course.
So should we move back to 21? So just wanted to refresh everyone's memory. the board a couple of years ago adopted board policy 3470A. I think it was addition with this debt issuance and management policy, but it now includes disclosure policies for the primary market disclosure and continuing disclosure. All participants in any bond financing should review the disclosure policy when the district undertakes a new financing. The Board of Education will be presented with a substantially final form of preliminary official statement to review in for consideration on the upcoming bond financing refinancing that the district is looking into now in order to get taxpayer savings on some of the outstanding bonds. And so it's important to refresh everyone's memory on the policies. Those policies set forth the procedures on how the district conducts the preparation and review of the disclosure document. And so we just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Next slide, please. So the role of business and finance staff at the district, everyone should understand the existing continuing disclosure undertakings and requirements, track the annual filing deadlines to ensure the process is started timely, provide the information to the Fieldman firm that's helping compile everything, and review the annual report once that is prepared. Those material events are significant events. Some of them they're very easy for the dissemination agent of Fieldman to monitor. For instance, rating changes, they're able to set up alerts to those and be able to coordinate with the district quickly. But a few of them are going to be more difficult, including if the district enters into any financial obligations that are not publicly offered. So it's important for everyone at the district to understand what those significant events are, so that you could alert Fieldman and also ORC if there's questions, whether something needs to be reported in those material events. And then coordinate those filings or timely is important as well. Next slide, please. So the role of the Board of Education, the governing board has a different perspective. You see things differently and are privy to things that not all of your executive staff may know. So it's critically important for you to be involved with the process, and when you get the bond financing documents, to look at the disclosure and think to yourself, is the full story being told here? Do I know of something that not everyone on the finance team would know about that should be disclosed to investors? If any of those sort of questions come in your mind, it's important to talk to Dr. Scrivana or Don Ellington and make them aware of it, and it could be discussed with us here at ORC as Disclosure Council and the rest of the financing team, so determination can be made if there's a materiality that needs to be included. So you often get documents for approval. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that your role is a significant one here, given your different perspective and access to information. Next slide.
And on this slide, we just want to give kudos to the board, as it has done a lot of work over the past few years, as evidenced through these green check marks, to really create these policies and procedures moving forward to ensure that your continuing disclosure requirements are managed very thoroughly. This includes that annual report, which was presented to the board at your prior meeting, ongoing board training like tonight, and committed staff and consultants such as our firm and ORIC to ensure your continuing disclosure responsibilities are managed well moving forward. And lastly, that last bullet point, just reiterating the importance again of having good disclosure practices. There are those potential risks, which could include fines. And as Andrea touched on, if you do continue to show a history of non-compliance, whether it be inaccurate information or a late filing, that could be a signal to investors that future information you disseminate may not be the most reliable, and it could result in higher interest rates the next time bonds are sold on the primary market.
And just continuing on to that, the problems that occur if the disclosure process is not at its best is, there's potential SEC investigations, adverse publicity, reduced market access. The SEC could impose more strict procedures or oversight. Rating downgrades could result, fines, potential adverse impact on employment and our reputation. The key thing for all of this really is to remember that the anti-fraud rules are fairly straightforward. We want to make sure that there's no misstatements of material fact, so that everything in the disclosure is accurate. But then also to step back and say, okay, is there anything going on? Is there litigation? Is there a new agreement with employment group? Is there something that's affecting the finances that is not disclosed currently that needs to be disclosed in order to make the document complete? I think that is the biggest takeaway when you review these documents. So I want to pause now and just make sure if there's any questions. We're all here and happy to discuss anything in more detail. Well, thank you very much for your time. If there are other questions once you are finished with your board meeting tonight, please give those to Dr. Scrivana or Don Ellington, and we will follow up with answers. So thank you again for your time, and good luck with the rest of the meeting.
I do see that board member Uribe has a question.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I don't have a question, Donald, Andrea, and Jason. I just wanted to thank you. This was very thorough and just very helpful. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for this great presentation. Is there any further comments or questions from my colleagues?
I just have a comment as well, Board President Gutierrez. Just this, I echo my colleague's sentiments. I think that there was so much clarity in the presentation, which I really do appreciate. I think we're all happy to move forward with these bonds, and hopefully we will continue to do a good job and bring transparency. I think that that's very important to our district as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will leave you at the meeting now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to item number 10, the school service organization discussions. Dr. Yuen, do we have any school service organization reports?
Yes, we do. I'll just go down the list. MCPTA, Ms. Patricia Torres. I don't see her here. PAC, Ms. Amanda Franco. For DLAC, Ms. Martha Cabral. And then last, we do have HSPC, Ms. Irma Avalos.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'll go ahead and start. Good evening, President Gutierrez, members of the board, Interim Superintendent Mark Scarvana, Executive Cabinet, and members of the audience. My name is Irma Avalos, and I'm the Head Start Policy Council President. I have the following program updates and recently approved items to share from our February 24th, 2022 Policy Council meeting. We shared an update on the enrollment numbers for both Head Start and Early Head Start. Also shared the DRDP data and report findings. and also the revised program goals and objectives. Our COVID resources were provided by our Bell Gardens PC community representative. And we also authorized Daniel Orozco, director, as a licensing agent in our licensing application for Bella Vista Elementary, Fremont Elementary, and Macy Intermediate. We approved the hiring of an early Head Start infant toddler teacher and the hiring of one early Head Start instructional assistant. We reviewed and approved the 2022 and 2023 refunding application. And finally, we had a guest speaker, Dr. Laura Hernandez, who spoke about loss and mental flexibility. Our next regular PC meeting is scheduled for March 31st, 2022. Thank you for the opportunity to share this information with you. Please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening.
All right, that concludes our school service organization reports.
Thank you, Dr. Yuan. We'll move on to item number 11, employee organization discussion. Dr. Yuan, do we have any employee organization reports?
Yes, we do, and I'll just go down the list. First, AMSA, Dr. Angel Gallardo, President.
Good evening, Board President Gutierrez, board members, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, Executive Cabinet, and the MUSD family. AMSA doesn't have a report tonight, but we would like to extend our gratitude to the Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, and Executive Cabinet for the continued support. Have a great night.
Next, we have MTA, Mr. David Navarre, President.
Good evening. It is with great pleasure and pride that I begin my comments by announcing our very young Gabriela Orozco Gonzalez's appointment to the California State Board of Education by Governor Newsom. She will serve with the same distinction and excellence as she has in all she does. Gabriela has taught here at Montebello Unified for over 20 years. She is currently at Montebello Gardens Elementary. She is a valuable member of MTA's bargaining team, a Common Core teacher lead for Montebello Unified, a national presenter for Common Core instructional shifts and teacher leadership, and a teacher leader for the Instructional Leadership Core for Stanford University and CTA. She is also a Stanford graduate, but I won't hold that against her as a Cal Berkeley grad. Having an instructional teacher leader and an expert in the State Board of Education will benefit the students of California for a long time to come. Felicidades, Gabriela. Some time ago, the idea of making the Applied Technology Center a district-dependent charter school was proposed. Since then, charter school legislation has changed the landscape, and we are emerging out of a pandemic with more questions than answers regarding enrollment, student enrollment. This past Monday, the ATC faculty unanimously opposed the conversion of the ATC to a district-dependent charter school. They will speak for themselves tonight, but I will say that in addition to there no longer being a benefit to being a charter school, their concerns and questions were not addressed in the charter petition. Tonight, you will also hear from Potrero Heights elementary parents and teachers speaking about class size. As a teacher and as a parent, I have come to understand that people want to hear their voice heard. I believe it is your responsibility as a board to hear them all. They have taken the time to prepare their thoughts and attend this meeting. Please do listen to them all, even if it is on the same subject. I would like to contribute comments to class size as well. The administration at Potrero Heights has done an excellent job of managing class size, but the numbers have finally caught up to them as well. They have sought solutions from the district, but have been denied. Although I and others have spoken consistently about class size to this board, the matter has not been adequately addressed. Yes, the job market for teachers is competitive, and independent studies was an added unexpected complication, but we never, as a district, got close to where we expected to be and wanted to be. Furthermore, it has been made clear that solutions are not being pursued, and the concerns about class size have been largely abandoned by human resources. Class size in our district has not improved, It is getting worse. At another, excuse me, at another elementary, a special day class received its 21st student this week. The class size limit is supposed to be 13. 13 students, they have 21. I could go on and offer more examples of our students not receiving the class size they were promised, not receiving the education that they deserve. But instead, I suggest that this board, who in the past has liked to look at data, ask to see the data. Ask how many combos do we have in this district? How many classes of 1 to 3 students over our soft cap do we have? How many classes of greater than our +3 hard cap do we have? Class size overages is something I have been dealing with all year, but it is the parents who have made it clear that this district should not wait until next year. We shouldn't make space in a classroom for another desk or pay a per diem and hope the problem goes away. Hope that the complaint's quiet. The child is in the classroom today, and we have 4 months of school left. Parents do not want to see the teacher make it work. They demand the problem is addressed and fixed. We do need to set up our people for success. The board's decision to postpone the start of the second semester helped lessen the impact of the seemingly long ago Omicron surge. Now we are planning for the additional 3 days. It is the position of the Montebello Teachers Association that the district should commit to fully staffing our schools to the greatest extent possible. Our students are entitled to their counselors, to their psychologists, their nurses, their speech and language therapists. Currently, the district intends to run a bare bones program, only inviting classroom teachers on those 3 additional days. That is not setting our employees and our students up for success. The board needs to run as robust a program as possible. Finally, the California State requests for applications for the community school planning grants were released late yesterday. The applications are due on April 1st. I have already reached out to Interim Superintendent Dr. Scarvana and Assistant Superintendent Dr. Garland to offer my assistance in writing these grants. I look forward to collaborating with them as we begin the process of bringing community schools to Montebello Unified and delivering the educational justice our students deserve. Thank you for your time and have a great evening.
All right, next we have CSEA, Ms. Marisol Rivera, President.
Good evening, Madam President Gutierrez.
Marisol, your voice is not coming through. Your sound is not coming through.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I think you just got to get closer to the mic. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So let me start all over. I know. Good evening, Madam President Gutierrez and members of the board and interim superintendent, Dr. Scarvana and executive cabinet, and community members and brothers and sisters. I would like to say thank you for giving direction to your chair and negotiator in order for us to proceed with closing 2020-21 negotiations. Our members will be voting on our tentative agreement tomorrow. Depending on the outcome, we will be moving forward. I'm excited to read that we have a healthy reserve, and as Dr. Scarvana said to Whittier Daily News, that the districts aren't going to get away with gigantic reserves and not give money back to the employees. That's a positive note to our working force. So I'm looking forward to our negotiations for 21-22. I'm excited to say that we have been working with Assistant Superintendent Hakopian in the process of the Juneteenth holiday in order for employees to take a floating holiday before June 30th of 2022. Also, we'll be adding this holiday into our coming working calendars for the following years. Thank you to the Board of Directors for moving forward with the approval of the Juneteenth holiday. There is still a lot of work to be done. Our transportation is still going to be hiring more bus drivers to continue the service that we provide to our students. Custodial is still being recruited. Our maintenance and operations still have some pending positions that need to be filled. Clerical positions are still pending and recruitments are happening. Nutrition services, we are working into guaranteeing the employees more hours than 3.5 hours a day as the services have not been reduced. Guidance is needed to be provided to this department as we have a turnaround of employees that work in the nutrition services. Special education soon will be doing interviews for hiring pending positions in instructional aides. So I'm looking forward to all those positions. Thank you to all our payroll, finance, human resource, classified, and certificated for the continuous support that they have provided. As I've met with the assistant superintendent of HR, I have mentioned to her that it is very concerning of all these departments that they should be direct, any negative comments or any negative concerns for those departments should be directed to their immediate supervisors or to their directors. Employees shouldn't be receiving any negative comments. They're there to assist. I'm excited to see that we are moving forward in hiring our new director for risk management. In saying this, it completes the pending director's positions throughout the district. Great job, Dr. Scavana and cabinet, and of course, Mr. Linson, our CFO. Thank you and have a great evening.
All right, and then we have MUSD POA Corporal Tony Navarez, representative.
Good evening, Madam President, Executive Cabinet, Mr. Scarvana, members of the community. Just to let you know, in the month of February, we send a supervisor a training called Tactical Casualty Care. It's in order, the three phrases you learn is care under fire, tactical field care, tactical evacuation plan. And I also send the 2 patrol officers to a 2-day course, which was free of cost. It's called Law Enforcement Tactical Medicine, where they were taught tactical techniques, rescue operations, massive bleeding control. And I know soon all those teachers will be receiving a medical care bag to have in their classrooms. And they could feel free to contact us for any training in regards to what's in that equipment bag. For example, like applying the tourniquets and stuff of that nature. Another thing I wanted to see if we could get support in regards to assistance with parents have been contacting the police department in regards to bringing the Explorer post back. We've had a few former students and current students that have been reaching out. I would like to see this program possibly start maybe in the summertime or beginning early next school year. It keeps the kids out of the streets, and it teaches our students different avenues of law enforcement, and then it makes them a better young person, respectable, and we teaches them a little bit of discipline. And that's about it. That's all I have for my report. Any questions? Thank you.
All right, and that it concludes our employee organization reports.
Thank you, Dr. Yuen. At this time, I would like to move on to item number 12, Los Angeles County Office of Education comments. Mr. McGuire was not able to join us tonight. Dr. Scavarna, do you have any comments left by Mr. McGuire?
No, I do not, Madam President. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. We'll move on to item number 13, public comment. I would like to call on legal counsel. Do we have any written public comment?
Thank you, President Gutierrez. Yes, we do have 4 written public comments. The first one, hello, my name is Erica Estrada, and I am a teacher at Joseph Gascon Elementary. We continue to ask the district, MTA, and CSEA for help and support with regards to the co-location at our school. The community, parents, and teachers have asked many times to include us in decision-making that affects our students. This includes CSEA and MTA representatives when we have any visits to our campus. Yesterday, there were some visitors with no visitor badges randomly looking at our building. Why does this district continue to make changes without any input from the community? We will continue to raise our voice for our students. No more co-location, no more segregation. The second comment, the subject matter says no co-location of charter schools in MUSD. Hello, board members. My name is Julie. My daughter attends Montebello High School. We moved from East Los Angeles to Montebello because Montebello didn't have any charter school. As you are aware, East Los Angeles is saturated with charter schools. Last year, a charter school was co-located in Montebello High School. I was not informed of this charter school, and neither did the community. We do not want any charter schools because all they do is take away from our public schools. Please listen to the Montebello community parents, teachers, and students who are asking to stop any co-locations in Montebello or MUSD. It is not a good idea to have two schools in the same campus as it causes division between students. Thank you very much. Please do everything possible to stop co-locations in MUSD. Julie Regalado. The next comment, the subject matter is Stop Charter School. Hello, my name is Lucia and I go to Montebello High School. My school has been co-located with a charter school and I do not like that. Why don't I like it, you ask? I've encountered a couple of character students and they claim to be better than us attending Montebello High School. I am well aware of what a charter corporation is. They take funds away from our school. They are also taking space away from us that we need. I am asking every board member to please stand up for public education. Instead of opening spots for charter schools, let it be an opportunity for you to give funds to public schools. Please no more charter schools in any MUSD campuses. Thank you very much, Lucia Amaro. The final written comment. The subject matter is no to co-location. Dear board and all who are present, health, safety, fair education for public students and transparency are my concerns in regards to the co-location of a charter school, KIPP, on public school property. Yes, I'm aware of the general law, Proposition 39, and the business model that KIPP and all charters follow. How transparent is KIPP? Not very, because they plowed through our public school during a pandemic and did not give teachers, parents, and students at Joseph Gascon Elementary School in Montebello Unified School District to stand their ground against LACO, KIPP, and MUSD decisions. The co-location of KIPP at Joseph A. Gascon Elementary School has negatively impacted our students and their use of the school grounds. Students have less play area, which they need because of distance learning. Students cannot participate in after-school programs because our public school classrooms are being occupied by KIPP. Students have to wait for KIPP students to move out of their walking path. Students have questioned why KIPP students are using their school and playground. Porta potty obstruction and eyesore also taking up playground space. We are still in a pandemic and people come on campus through a large gate. Now that is a safety issue. KIPP students wandering around unsupervised. The beginning of the school year, all our hallways were full of dust, but the custodial staff were busy setting up areas for KIPP. Our students have been constantly ignored and passed up. Teachers and students constantly make accommodations for a charter school that does not belong on a public school campus. In closing, Prop 39 does have loopholes to vacate KIPP and all charter schools from public schools so our students can have a fair education. Sandra Orozco, fifth grade teacher, Joseph Gascon. That concludes the written public comments. We do have about 14 calls and additional, I believe, hands that are raised. Dr. Yuan, can you take over?
Yes, so I'll start. First one is Christine Dimas, and she is calling about charter school. So give me a moment while I put her on. Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening, President Gutierrez, board members, interim superintendent Rosana, and executive cabinet. My name is Christine Dimas. I'm a community member. Before I begin my topic of charter schools, I would like to share with the MUSD community the passing of Mr. Ulrich, the former band teacher at Sure High School. The Sure High School community has truly lost an individual that presented Taco Mambo as the iconic fight song for all pep rallies, football games, and basketball games. The SHS News has posted a YouTube link on their social media page so that you can listen to the iconic song that was played by the SHS marching band. As a member of Sure High School community, My thoughts and prayers are with Mr. Ulrich's family. Thank you for your service, Mr. Ulrich, to Montebello Unified School District and the SHS community. Now, charter schools. Again, I find myself requesting the help of the board. Teachers of Gaston Elementary School, parents, and community members are hoping that we can begin a committee to address issues with regards to requests for more classrooms for charters residing at Gaston Elementary. There are topics that teachers would like, and other topics that teachers would like addressed. It would show great faith on the Board of Education to reach out to the teachers to discuss the entire business from soup to nuts on what needs to be provided to charter schools in terms of Prop 39. As far as trying charter and the co-location at Montebello High School, how and when can the district start the process of removing this charter school from MUSD? It is my understanding that this charter is not providing enrollment to continue as a charter in the district. It does not seem appropriate to allow a charter to continue in the district if enrollment is not there. Excuse me. Thank you for your time this evening. Good night, everyone.
Right, next we have someone who wishes to remain anonymous calling about the ATC charter conversion. All right, went to voicemail, so I'm going to move on. Next is Jeanette Alvarado calling about the ATC charter conversion. Okay, go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President Gutierrez, Interim Superintendent Dr. Scarvana, and Executive Cabinet. In the fall of 2019, the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services presented to the staff of the Applied Technology Center High School about converting the school into a dependent charter school. In the years since this first initial visit, there have been many more meetings and discussions regarding a possible conversion. Upon further investigation, it became apparent the teachers needed to hold a formal meeting regarding whether or not to move forward with this process. On Monday, February 28, 2022, the permanent teachers of the ATC unanimously agreed to not move forward with the conversion. Therefore, we asked the board and MUSD to forego reviewing the petition draft and moving forward with any future plans to convert the ATC into a dependent charter school. At the time, the district was facing multiple charter schools petitioning to come into the district. At the time, we were informed that converting to a charter school could provide the school and the district 3 things. They are 1, to boost district enrollment, 2, have more autonomy at our school, and 3, to provide protections for our CTE teachers. However, a proposed document was anything but that, and the questions teachers had from the very beginning of this entire process were not answered. Therefore, we were not only looking out for our students' best interests, but now we were looking out for ours. The ATC is a very special kind of school, and it is unfortunate that the district believes converting a school like ATC is the only option to boost enrollment. Therefore, we ask what other viable options has the district considered to help boost enrollment? Where are the banners, bus decals, flyers, mailers, posters, QR codes that let the community know MUSD has open enrollment happening right now? It shouldn't just fall on the schools. There is a better way, and the district needs to turn to the school sites to hear from us, the teachers and staff, on some amazing ideas we have to help our schools and our district. Montebello Unified was once the envy of surrounding districts. Why can't we be that again? Let's work together and let the community know how wonderful our schools are. Converting schools into charters is not the only option. Thank you for your time.
All right, next we have someone by the name of Jen calling about the ATC charter. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Jennifer Aguilera. I'm a teacher at ATC, facilitator, as we are called. And I am strongly opposed to the ATC changing to a charter. And as we've heard many people state this evening, the charter schools are not benefiting MUSB at all. As a product of MUSB, graduated 2003 from Montebello High School, I take pride in this district. And I believe that this district can do so much for our students because it did so much for me and for our families. But as we just heard, we were told that there would be certain protections, certain autonomous plans that we could move forward with at ATC if we were a charter. But I do believe that it is extremely telling that the permanent teachers at ATC unanimously voted against a charter in order to provide a voice for our CTE teachers who, since they are temporary, are not given that permanent status and could not therefore vote to protect themselves and to provide that permanent status for them as well. So I do applaud our permanent staff for doing so. Another thing I wanted to point out is that if we do turn to a charter, our special education department is not going to be allowed to ask if a student has a certain IEP or 504 plan, and therefore we could probably be accepting students to the charter in a school that we are not prepared to work with their detailed accommodations and do the best we can for that student population. So special education students would not be getting the best benefit of the school had we turned to charter, or if we turn to charter, hopefully you are listening to our pleas. And last but not least, of course, the major push was to improve enrollment, but since enrollment is down statewide, district-wide, there's little to no evidence that changing to a charter will improve enrollment. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
All right, next we have Jenny Yu calling about kinder classroom size.
Thank you.
All right, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Jenny Yu. I'm calling. I am a parent of a kindergartner, Charlotte Yu, that goes to Porchera Heights Elementary. I am calling in regards to the kindergarten classroom size. I believe currently in each kindergarten class, there's about 27 students. I am aware that I believe that each kindergarten class is supposed to have a maximum of 20 students. And I just wanted to bring about my concerns for the overage of so many students in one kindergarten class. Not only does that devalue the attention and the education, the level of education they could receive, attention from the teacher. I believe it's also during this pandemic, it shouldn't even reach the maximum number of 20 students to ensure that proper social distancing is maintained. It's in the classroom, especially for kindergartners since they are young and it's a little harder for them to be able to socially distance themselves. So I just wanted to bring forth this concern I have as a parent in regards to the large kindergarten classes size that is currently at the Potrero Heights kindergarten classes.
All right, next we have Margie Sullivan calling about hiring more certified staff.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Good evening, Madam President Gutierrez and board members. As elementary director for MTA, I am very concerned about too many classes having offices in the class size. We need to hire more teachers to service our students' needs. I currently teach at kindergarten at Potrero Heights Elementary and have 27 students, 3 with severe speech needs, and perhaps other unidentified special needs. Due to COVID restrictions, it's very hard to do one-to-one or small group instruction. I can only accommodate 2 to 3 kids at my kiddie table to separate them at a time. But in reality, with more students, there is hardly any extra time to help students with one-to-one support. Teachers are forced to teach whole group the majority of the time, leaving less time for intervention for students that are low performing. I normally offer after school tutoring, but with 27 students, by the end of the day, I am truly exhausted and are too tired to tutor after school. Talking to other kindergarten teachers in the district, I found that Cesar Chavez has 5 kindergarten classrooms with 25 students. That's 25 students over the maximum. And that would be an entirely new classroom, an additional classroom. The teachers were told that it was too late in the school year to hire another teacher. And I think this was probably like in December or January. Yet we're getting the ADA funds for those extra students. We have an MOU that needs to be honored, 20-1 for primary grades. I also think the capacity in my own classroom, my very small classroom, is not legally safe. We are packed in like sardines. It is an accident waiting to happen. In closing, I often hear scholars say how important the primary and especially kindergarten and TK are to build a strong foundation for our students' future learning. Yes, through my experience at MUSD over 30 years, kindergarten and first grade are always the last grades to get support that we truly need. And in small class size, materials and programs. For example, the all program that I was offered to teach was supposed to be K2 and 3-5, but kindergarten is not receiving any help, and we only have one all teacher. We need to make sure we provide everything for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Diana Vasco calling about class size. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone, Madam President, Interim Superintendent, and members of the board. My name is Diana Roscoe. I am a parent who has 2 students at MUSD. I am very actively involved, or I try as best as I can be to be actively involved with my children's education and actively involved at the schools if possible. Tonight, I would like to make a comment regarding the student-teacher ratios specifically at the elementary schools. At the beginning of this school year, the elementary schools had town hall meetings where COVID protocols, guidelines were provided to the parents to ensure that the children went to school, and there was safety that there was safe guidelines for the children to return to school. At that time, at those town halls, we were given a ratio of 25 students to 1 teacher for the upper elementary school kids and 20 students to 1 teacher for the kindergarten TK students. My daughter is a student in kindergarten at Potrero Heights Elementary, and I was very upset to find out come February for Valentine's Day, when they were allowed to exchange Valentine's cards, that her class size was 27 students. I'm not sure why the school district is not following its own protocols. The least we could do as a district is follow the protocols we set forth. Even in the LTAP, the class ratio that is provided there is 24:1. The only solution I see at this time would be to hire more teachers. We need to keep the primary student numbers low, especially with the kindergarten and first grade. It affects their academic success. More students equals increased student distraction, and it decreases the one-to-one student and teacher interaction. So I beg of you, I have a student that's in kindergarten right now, but I also have a senior. So I've been in the school district for 12 years with my students. This was an issue when my son was in kindergarten. So I know that this is something that the school board and the district is not addressing. I am imploring that you guys address this issue. And it's not only at Potrero Heights Elementary, like others have said, it's also at the other elementary schools within the district. If you guys need any help or you guys want more parent support, let us know. But it's way too many students, especially within the kindergarten and the first grade classrooms, because I am very well aware that there is no volunteers that are being allowed to the classrooms right now. And, it's very hard on these teachers. They need help. They need our support. They need the support from the parents. They need the support from the district. They need the support, in order for our children to succeed. And like somebody previously stated that, those first grade years, first kinder, second grade, those are that's the building blocks for their education. We need to do better.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Iva Chen Kang calling about class size. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Iva Chen Kang, and I teach at kindergarten at Potrero Heights Elementary. This is my 27th year at Potrero Heights. Prior to that, I was a Chapter 1 teacher for private school for 10 years with Montebello, 2 years as a sub, and a student of Montebello. From first grade to Montebello High School graduate with honors. And my children also attended MUSD with much success. I'm speaking tonight in regards to my classroom size. Kindergarten is supposed to have the lowest classroom size to build their foundational academic and social skills. Both kindergarten classes are currently enrolled to 27, with more enrolling as we speak. We were informed on December 17th, 2021, the last day of school before the winter break, that we would receive 5 new students starting January 11th, 2022. At the town forum held in August 2021, administration promised the community that the district is going to keep the class size down due to COVID, maintaining a safer and educationally optimal environment. There are specific numbers of occupancy in each classroom for fire hazard safety reasons. There's a reason for the MOU, 20 students for kindergarten. If the administration doesn't respect it, throwing money at the problem doesn't put the students first. So what is the point of the agreement? Higher number of students in a classroom increases the probability of contracting COVID and reduces the time a teacher will have to dedicate to each student. It also gives other families more reason to leave Montebello Unified School District towards charter and private schools. I am physically, mentally, and emotionally drained. I have never worked so hard as I've had these last 2 years. I was the first recipient awarded the Teacher of the Year by Potrero Heights Elementary. So that displays my work ethic and dedication to our students and staff. I am a highly qualified teacher, so please give me a highly qualified environment to work in. I also want to share our 2 fourth grade classrooms. They have 34 plus students, and they can't even physically put appropriate sized desks into their classrooms. I do have a picture of that to share, but I can't share it. I do come with solutions. By removing 7 students from each of these classrooms already creates about 75% enrollment for a third kindergarten class. Potrero has 2 available classrooms for a third kinder class. Our ALL teacher can teach this class. We can pull permits, but that's not what we really want to do. I look forward to solutions to rectify this as soon as possible that keeps our great school score at 8 and higher. Thank you.
Next, we have Andy Lee calling about class size. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, I want to, talk about the classroom of the kindergarten. There was 20 students, and right now it's go up to 27 students. I think it's it's a lot of students, and the teacher cannot handle all of them, all 27 students. And I would like the school to open another class if if you guys can do it. That's all I want to add.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Maria Gallardo calling about adding teachers to school. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening. I'm currently calling. Sorry. I'm currently have 2 students at Potrero Heights Elementary School. One is in 5th grade and the other is in kindergarten in the James class. I'm currently concerned with the growing number of students in my kindergartners class. 7 more students have been added to the classroom since the year started. I'm worried about how this will affect his education, as kindergarten is where a strong foundation for learning is built. More students added to his classroom means less time for his teacher to spend working with my child. So I don't want my child or anyone else's child to be overlooked because we're just trying to fill chairs and rooms. Students fell behind during COVID, and these large class sizes only push learning back further and spread our teachers thin. Our community, students, and teachers deserve better. I would like more teachers added to our school to avoid further loss of learning. Thank you.
Next, we have Jacob Orozco calling about classes are too big. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jacob Roscoe.
So I have one student enrolled in Potrero Elementary, and I'm quite concerned with the size of this classroom. For one, like I understand it's been quite a difficult 2 years for everyone, especially for kids who don't have any prior schooling and who missed out on a lot of socialization and preparation for school. So, you know, on top of all the kids going to school and learning things for the first time, especially learning how to read, how to, count, how to write for the first time, all these skills that they're going to take, going forward, first grade and onward. So if there's no way for these kids to be able to grasp like the basics, it's going to be difficult for them going forward. And it's ultimately going to be bad for the district as well, and for those kids that are going to start falling behind if there's not enough staff or teachers or anything for them to lean on. I remember when I was younger, I also attended Potrero, and in kindergarten, it's a time for socialization for these kids, and to learn the fundamentals. But now I understand, there's more things that they're being taught at a younger age, and it would be a lot more difficult now, especially, if there's so many kids in the class, it's difficult to tend to each kid, so not all kids are going to have that attention also at home either to do their work. Some are, but I think mostly when they're in school, that's the time where they're going to be able to get all that help they need. And when they get home, they'll just be able to continue that. But they won't be able to do that if they're at school and they're just kind of going through, like we all know, as school goes on, as kids grow up, the classes are going to get bigger, but by then they're going to be a lot more self-sufficient. But as them being so young, I think it's really crucial for them to get every ounce of help they can, especially now. Now in this state, in this climate, for all these kids, I think it's really important for them to have all a fair shot at such a young age, the first grade, kindergarten, everybody. So hopefully in the future, there could be some kind of funding in order to be like another extra class. So that way the ratio for teacher and student could be a lot smaller. So that'll be all.
Right, next we have Jenny Herrera calling about special education teachers.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, oh, turn. All right, go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening to everyone. I am a concerned parent of Winter Gardens Elementary. Recently, I heard the special ed teacher, Ms. Plasencia, is not coming back and is being let go. Parents want to know the reason why. Ms. Plasencia is an excellent teacher and dedicated to her students. Her students have made great progress and are reaching their goals. Also, before Ms. Plasencia, there was not a special ed teacher. There was only substitute teachers on special ed class at Winter Gardens. So why is the Montebello district letting go of the only special ed teacher we have at Winter Gardens? Ms. Hilda stands by her students and goes above and beyond for her students. I am afraid that Ms. Plasencia is being let go from district for advocating for her students. That's why I want to kindly ask the Montebello District Board to look into why Ms. Plasencia is being let go. That is all. Thank you for your time.
Next we have Lorena De La Torre.
Okay.
All right, you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ok, sí, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Lorena de la Torre. Soy mamá de una adolescente que va a la Shore High School. Y la razón por la cual estoy hablando es porque me tiene muy preocupada el motivo de la situación que actualmente está pasando. Sé que no nomás es en esa escuela, pero es en la que está mi hija. y donde fueron mis dos hijos que ya salieron la high school. Anteriormente sí había problemas, pero no al grado que hay ahorita. Yo ya hablé con el director de la Shore y le comenté mis preocupaciones y mis temores, la tristeza que me da ver en lo que se está convirtiendo un plantel donde debe de ser la segunda casa de nuestros hijos. Parece un campo de batalla. Actualmente hay muchas peleas, se están drogando en los baños tanto las niñas como los niños. Hay niñas que han salido en ambulancias con sobredosis. Están, para terminar, tienen 2 semanas consecutivas que han grafiteado la escuela y no es posible que yo pienso como madre que tenemos que hacer algo para, no sé, poner unas cámaras que estén en un buen lugar donde puedan identificar quién es lo que está haciendo, porque ¿por qué el distrito, por qué la escuela tiene que sacar de sus fondos que tienen para la educación para pintar lo que esos chamacos están haciendo? Le pregunté al director que qué pasó con las cámaras y dijo que desafortunadamente no se grabaron las personas quien lo hizo. Entonces, quien puso esas cámaras no las puso bien y quizás se necesitan más. No sé si hay manera en que puedan ayudar en que esto pase o y aparte de eso, que pongan más, si tienen que poner un policía o alguien que esté ahí, porque hoy precisamente hubo tres peleas a la hora del lunch. Esa es la razón de mi llamada y me gustaría saber si pueden hacer algo o qué se va a hacer, porque espero no tengan que pasar algo fatal para que entonces se tenga que hacer algo.
Thank you. And then we have Marina Martinez-Smith calling about pay on the pay stub and also mental health for students.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, President Gutierrez, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Skavarna, Dr. Ewan, members of the Executive Cabinet, and audience members. Hope that you and those you love are healthy and safe. I would like to congratulate boys and girls soccer for making it to quarterfinals in CIS, Galilea Garcia for winning second in her weight class at the CIS State Wrestling Championship, and best of luck when competing in the national championships in Virginia. Cheer for taking 5th at the USA Nationals, Drill for taking 1st place in the sharp competition, and Forensics for winning 2nd place at state qualifiers. We are Spartan proud of your dedication, commitment, and accomplishment. I would also like to thank everyone involved in the renovation of our baseball field. I recently was going to attend a game and was redirected to Cantwell. It is disappointing that it is so difficult to support our team, but feel reassured that the baseball field is currently being repaired. Sure High School is in need of additional mental health support. We have a generation of students who are reacclimating themselves to being in school after the hardships of the pandemic, illness, death, divorce, and every kind of abuse, including drugs. Currently, ENKI, East Los Angeles Youth and Family Services, and Pacific Clinic have long waiting lists, and students are having to wait for the support they need. We need more resources. My students, your children, our children need mental health support. These kids have suffered through the pandemic, enduring loss of control in their life. This is manifesting on campus as students wanting to take matters into their own hands when they see injustice. There is not right or wrong at this point, just an opportunity to vent, and it is contagious. We need to keep our campus safe. School should be a safe haven for fostering and nurturing learning, no matter who you are or where you live or what you have been through. When you set foot on Sure High School campus, you are part of the Spartan family, and we care for our younger Spartans and would like to see them recover from the hardships of the pandemic. along with timely and consistent pay and the timeline that is followed for the payment of adjunct and additional service that is used by the Montebello Unified School District, so that the employees of the Montebello School District can plan their lives effectively. I would also like to ask that our pay stubs clearly state for what we are being paid. Many teachers and staff in this district are working hard to compensate for the sub, custodian, secretary, and CSO shortages. And when finally compensated, we are unsure for what we have been paid. These issues need to be resolved. The employees of the Montebello Unified School District deserve timely and consistent pay and to know for what we are being paid. Sure High School continues to be in need. Oh, thank you so much for your time and consideration. I am grateful to work with so many dedicated to the children within the school district. Good night.
All right, that concludes the call-in portion. We do have some hands up in the participants right now.
Dr. Yuan, before you move on to the hands, can we try again the caller who wanted to be anonymous? I know you mentioned that they went to voicemail.
Sure, give me a second. You just declined it, so.
Okay, we can move on.
All right. So going to our list, we can go from the top to the bottom. So I do see a Jessica Zawal.
Jessica, you're muted.
Okay, I'm there.
All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I've worked for the Montebello Unified for close to 23 years. When I started, I learned quickly that Montebello Unified was a community, a family that cared about students. It was important to everyone from admin to classified that our students came out of our school system with not only academic skills, but they also learned to understand their values, their culture, and the importance of their voice. Through the years, the people who believed in our district learned about the culture, community, and connected have done numerous things to make a positive impact on our students. This is the Montebello way. We used to have a culture of shared decision-making, but now many share with me that the district office takes the input, ignores it, and does what they believe is best or nothing at all. For example, we have community organizers who are advocating against co-location. Instead of sending the superintendent to hear and exchange ideas, you ask for legal to send them the law. They know the law. They want your time, attention, and support with finding the loopholes to put the needs of our students and Gascon Elementary first. So please help them. We are better together, and when we are together, students win. To the board, I'm once again advocating for your actions. I've heard that you believe in students and that you want to make a difference, which is great, but what are you doing about it? I advocated for no combos, but if we had to have them provide support. We have 40 combo classes and not one teacher has been contacted by the district and offered support. Nothing is not the answer. Class size, you say it sounds good, so it's time to make it happen. The district says the needs of English learners is important, but the actions of the district say you do not want to hear their voice. If you are a leader in the Montebello Unified School District, then you should not need a reminder to have an LCAP student survey translated into Spanish. Your actions say they are unworthy of your attention, that you could not be bothered or care about them. Is this a civil rights issue? These actions represent you. I have been asking about the development of a newcomer center, and no one has called to ask what we can do. I know some admin visited one in another district, but have we created a committee to see what we can develop? I know some people who understand the need and have ideas. Again, we are better together. When we are together, students win. Last meeting, you spoke about professional learning, academic support, and parent engagement. You created a policy believing that we're doing it, that we're going to do more. However, did you know it's taking 5 to 6 months for these items across the district to get to you for approval? It doesn't matter how much extra funding we get for these activities. If they do not get to you, the board, for approval in a timely manner, our students, some of the neediest in the state, will not benefit. Something is wrong. The district used to understand that shared decision-making was a best practice that eventually became a win for our students. Employees at every level were valued. Perhaps some need a reminder that whether you are an elected official, administrator, certificated,
All right,
classified
thank you.
parent,
That was
or
3
student,
minutes.
no one is better than anyone else because of their title. Together, we are stronger. Together, we respectfully, collaboratively, with shared vision.
All right, next we have Veronica Viramontes.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I again plead to you to stop co-location of Gascon with KIPP. You are exposing our kids by overpopulating our school and taking valuable resources away from our students, residents of Montebello Unified, to service non-residential students. Dr. Ewan had mentioned that the people occupying the space given to KIPP will be relocated to the second floor of the brick building. And I ask, why is that okay for our employees and our students to occupy the second floor when it is not up to code? It has no no sprinkler systems for the fire. Why is it okay for our students and staff to occupy it and not for KIPP? Also, KIPP has no cafeteria. They store their food in the hallway, which causes rodents and bug infestation. The foul smell coming from the porta potties in the schoolyard affects our kids. And furthermore, the environment felt in the playground in between the charter school kids and our kids is unacceptable. My daughter mentioned that the other day, a ball rolled over to the charter school side, and the charter school kids were told not to roll it back. What are we teaching our kids? This is a community school. We need to be a community. And if our kids feel alienated in their own school, how is that possible? We need to be doing better. I am requesting verification of enrollment, a body count be done to ensure that you have no ghost enrollments, that addresses be verified to ensure that KIPP meets the number required to be in our district. Put our kids' needs first, make smaller class sizes, and don't let their school and resources be taken away. Stop the co-location. Our kids deserve better. They deserve a good education, a good environment, a safe environment, in whether they can flourish and grow and learn. Thank you. Good night.
All right, next we have Johnny Vallon. All right, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you. Would it be possible for me to share my screen?
No, you can't.
Okay, that's fine. My name is Johnny Vallon. I am the youth transition specialist for Southern California Resource Services. We are a nonprofit resource office for people with disabilities. My focus age group is youth with disabilities 14 to 24. I am responsible for working with youth as they go through the transition from secondary school to adulthood, providing guidance and hands-on assistance. I also have a training youth leaders for tomorrow tilt workshop program, which is about a 6 to 8 week courses on independent living, education, employment, healthcare, financial aid, and social recreation. But the biggest thing about is that this summer, from July 17th to the 22nd, we are hosting a youth leadership summit open to all, well, not open to sophomore, juniors, and seniors with disabilities. it will be a 5-day leadership program held at Cal State LA, where they will have the opportunity to stay overnight in the dorms. Some of our activities include employment interview skills, job fair and networking, success stories from our college students with disabilities, and much more. I am just wondering if there was a way that I could email you my flyers so they could be sent out to teachers and to reach a wider audience. Thank you for your time, and if I can email it to someone, please let me know. Thank you.
Dr. Yuan, before we move on, if someone can contact Mr. Velen to provide an email address so we can get that flyer, please.
Yeah, we can try to look back in the logs to see if there's any contact information.
Okay. Or is it possible, maybe if he's hearing us right now, can you provide an email to the best person in contact?
Yes, let me just see if he's on the list. Oh, Mr. Valen, if you're listening, feel free to contact Ms. Rodarte, Elizabeth Rodarte. And you can just call the main office and just ask for her office, and then they'll transfer you there. Again, her name is Elizabeth Rodarte. She's our Director of Special Education, and she works with our adult transition students as well. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Next, we do have
Dr. Ewan. Could we also just place him back on the panel list to make sure that he got her?
Sure.
He received her name as well, just to clarify.
Sure. So, Mr. Chen, can you move Mr. Valen back to the panel so we can confirm?
I do not see, hang on, let me move him to panelist.
I see his hand is up.
Yeah, hang on, there's a lot of people on the list. Give me a second. Let me see. Okay, Johnny, you can speak now, and you can share the screen if you like.
Hello, thank you, Madam President Gutierrez, and members of the board. I was able to take down the contact information for Ms. Rosarte as the Director of Special Ed. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Next, we have Mrs. Garcia.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I, as a parent of a kindergarten student at Potrero Heights Elementary School, strongly support a smaller class size. Our children face a very challenging school year, especially last year. Now that they are back to school in person, please let us give them the opportunity for more engaging environment for learning, especially this is their primary years. Also, with a smaller class size, teachers will give more attention to the children's needs. And with this COVID situation, we have to consider safety. That's all. Thank you.
All right, next we have Fong Reyes. All right, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Fong Reyes, and my son is a kindergartner at Potrero Heights Elementary. He started off the school year loving everything about school. He said, "Mommy, I love playing with my friends, I love learning, and I love my teacher, Mrs. Kang." Now, after returning back from winter break, and as we know, additional students were added to the class. And if you can just hear everybody's comments, the size of the classrooms are just out of control at this point. Even the teachers, as seasoned as Mrs. Kang, is letting us know this is something that it's pretty much impossible. I'm not saying that she can't do it, but I'm just saying I don't think it's fair for our kids who actually need every ounce of support they can, especially at this young and tender age. Um, and I just wanted to share the story of how a couple of weeks after returning from winter break, and with all these new changes and additional students in his classroom, you know what? He actually did show his frustration. If if you saw us at the drop off at the gate, you would have seen the scene. And I don't think he acted appropriately. Nobody wants to see their child kicking and screaming at the gate, not wanting to enter the gate. But that was his way of showing me his frustration. He was not able to get the attention in class as much as I know Mrs. Kang would have wanted to give him. She has other students to attend to. And it's just a different type of environment, when you're not able to get the attention that they deserve. Now, and I'm not saying my son's the only one, but if you can only imagine how many other kids who are not showing their frustration and who are not reaching out for help, they're going to slowly fall behind. And if we don't do something now to help our kids, this is going to trickle down to, year after year. We're going to be seeing these kids fall behind and not being able to catch up because we're not able to help them right now as a kindergartner when it's one of their most important years of their education. It's not how it used to be. When I remember going to kindergarten, having to do arts and crafts. I remember doing hand paints and stuff. They're actually doing a lot of academic stuff. And, me as a parent helping him with homework every afternoon, I'm very proud of these kindergartners to do what they're doing, and the teachers for really providing as much support as they can
All right, thank you. That was 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Daphne Molina.
Stephanie is on a very old version of Zoom. So in order for her to talk, I have to move her to panelist. Are we okay with that?
Yes, that's fine.
Dr. Yan and colleagues, before we move on, I would like to consult with my colleagues so we can close public comment right after Wendy Romero, so we can move along with business in our agenda.
Okay, noted.
Colleagues, how do you feel about closing after Wendy Romero?
I'm actually okay with just listening to the few more people that are left.
Yes, we'll close it after the last hand.
I think Daphne, for some reason, left.
That works for me, Board President.
That works for me too, Board President. Okay, thank you. So our last public comment would be Miss Wendy Romero. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll go to Hector. All right, Hector, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Members and Madam President of the Board, Interim Superintendent, welcome. And fellow members of the community. I am a concerned parent calling in today to address the concern of oversized classrooms. I have a student in kindergarten, and it's been brought to my attention that they've added students to an already packed classroom. It's my understanding that there were commitments made at the beginning of the year of what the class sizes were going to be, and I think it's important that you guys consider staying true to those commitments, because it's really important to have a small classroom. I don't think it's any secret that classroom sizes are a very important subject to parents and teachers alike. I heard everyone today eloquently bring forth many good points about why it's important to have these smaller classrooms, so I won't go through all of them. But what I would say is don't chase away these very, very highly qualified teachers and students who high qualified students and parents. Don't chase them away from the district. The Montebello Unified School District has a tradition of excellence, and I think it would behoove you to step up and stay true to those traditions. I don't know what else I should add more. I don't know what else more I should add, but those are my concerns, and thank you so much for giving me the time to voice my concerns today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next we have Maria A.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Maria Armentero. I am a parent. I just wanted to express my growing concern about the classroom sizes at Pochero Elementary, specifically the kindergarten class. I just feel as these classes are continuing to grow, my child and other children are missing out on personal learning times with their teacher. I also feel like these classroom sizes are in direct danger to my child's health, as it heightens his risk of contracting COVID. I also feel like after such a hard year of distant learning our children had to endure last year, the least that they deserve is enough time from their teacher and attention from their teacher, who is unable to give them it as who is unable to give them the attention that they deserve because of the classroom sizes. I feel like we need to fix this, as it is the groundwork to our children's future and their education. So many people are addressing this issue, and the district should see that this is a big concern and should be taken serious. I'm done.
All right, next we have Sergio Aguilar.
Hello.
Hello, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to touch upon the class sizes that we're just talking about in the charter schools. At the end of the day, I believe everything comes down to the money. Charter schools are money driven. That's why a lot of different school districts are bringing it in, because they want to be able to get the test scores and get the best students only in. But then that segregates all the other students. And unfortunately, the way that we are right now in the school districts and the education, most schools only want to concentrate with the gifted students and don't bother with the students that are struggling, because they feel like it's just a waste of time for them, because everything comes down to the funding. If we have the grades, if we have the scores, then we're gonna get all the funding from the board, from the state, from the federal government. But that is sad to see that we're putting more emphasis on the money than actually making sure that the students are learning and being given the opportunity to get the fundamentals, especially in elementary schools. in elementary, they're learning the fundamentals so that that it's going to help them in life. They're learning the basic math, reading, writing, and fourth grade. After fourth grade, they jump into fifth grade. The curriculum changes drastically. And if you have a classroom where it's 34 students and a teacher who's barely has any time to teach them, let alone try to correct all those papers and put the attention that the students need, and so that they can help them and so that they can learn, that is sad to see that is happening. You keep talking about there's not enough enrollment, but then I'm hearing that there's not enough enrollment, but yet there's a lot of classes who have over enrollment. So why is it that we can't look at the funding and appropriate enough funding to hire enough teachers to provide the basic education that the students need in this school? We're a small community, we're a small city, we're not LAUSD. We don't have the funds, the millions of dollars that they get. And unfortunately, if we continue like this, a couple of years ago, the school district was already about to be taken by the state. I don't know if you guys remember that. And it seems like if we don't fix this, most likely we're gonna have to go back to that. And maybe that would be the best way to go about it. But we need to look at the well-being of the students and make sure that they learn and they get what they deserve, the basic education and the attention that they need from the teachers, not so much concentrating on the money and the funding that the schools get. Thank you.
And then just to let the board know, Daphne Molina logged back on. So we'll end with her. Next, we have Wendy Romero.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, hello. My name is Wendy Romero. I am the parent of a student at Potrero Heights Elementary. I am a very involved parent in the PTA for I don't know how many years. My older son is already in university and he attended Potrero as well. I know every single teacher. I have all their numbers and we have great communication. And I've recently had a lot of interaction with Madam President Jennifer Gutierrez, who thank you so much. You're always very helpful. When I post questions on the Facebook or comments, you're always there to support the parents of the school district. So I'm reaching out to you again in this other platform and just asking that you guys help the teachers. These are all wonderful teachers that have been working so very hard in these last couple of years, just as I'm sure you all have, that are asking for your help, that are asking you to follow through on the commitment that you had made to keep the classes small. And I also, I mean, every parent has said the same thing, so I don't want to repeat it over and over again, but I think you all know the importance. All these parents are on here to show how much we care and that we're out here looking and seeing to make, hold all of you accountable as well, but also to know that we need the communication. We need the information on why the classes are still so high and why we're still adding students. I would like to have follow-up from you guys as to keep us informed and let us know when these changes are going to happen. Don't just put this on the back burner. Don't expect us to not keep questioning or not keep coming back for answers, because we will. The education of our students is very important, as I'm sure it is to you guys. So please keep us updated on when these changes are going to happen and when you're going to actually follow through on the commitment that you made to keep these classes small. So I appreciate your time. I know we're running so late because of all these comments, but it's just to show you that it's a really important matter for us, as I'm sure it is for you. And once again, I appreciate you, Ms. Jennifer Gutierrez, because I know that you will get back to us, because you always have, and all of you guys will as well, and keep us informed. So thank you so much for your time.
All right, and final, Daphne Molina.
Hi.
Hi,
Sorry,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Hello.
Sure, you have
My
3
name
minutes.
is Daphne Molina. Yes. I'm part of the committees all the time. Many of you district and board members know me. I'm always in the school committees. So I'm gonna start with this. I'm a Potrero parent. He's not in kindergarten. The kindergarten is not the only issue, like the sizes of the school. I think so all the grades have it. I have senior right now. I have a graduated senior, is in college already. And I think so, he's in Shure High School. The Shure High School has 40 students in classes. Imagine with the new desk you guys give, how it was terrible. The teachers put that desk. My little one is in 4th grade, and he don't has a new desk. And he was so happy waiting for a new desk, but he don't get a new desk. And he's in 4th grade. So I think so it's not only kindergarten. All our schools, not only Potrero, all our school, I always advocate for all. But I'm talking about, yes, I know I'm here for Potrero right now, but I'm gonna say this. All our schools, they need more teachers. All our schools, they need more staff. All our schools, they need more custodians. All our schools, they need more things from you. Not only more desks, not only new more things from you guys. And you, before the kids go back in person, you say, of course, for COVID, there's gonna be more space between each other, blah, blah, blah. The kids go back and there's many kids in the classes with COVID, you know, and that's not right. And I know it's many issues in all the schools, but I think so you guys need to advocate for all that too, not only like for one school. It's for all the schools, for all the grades, because it's not only one school, one teacher. All the teachers are doing their best, and I think so you guys needs to think about that. Also, parents, all of you that are right here, it's many of you in many schools, do the LCAP. The cabinet right here, the LCAP, they use it for the money you're asking for. Okay, if you parents don't fill it out, that survey, they decide where the money go. Okay, I'm just saying that. And many times the schools and councils, committees, the DLA committees, the DAC committees, we ask for that. The schools, we ask for that. And you guys parents don't fill it out that. So that's why the boards, they decide what they do with the money. That's one of your answers. I want to say that. Please help us with all that. I think so we need many. That's one of the things we need. We need many of the things. I'm gonna tell you this: the combo classes, the gift classes, the special ed classes. My son get identified as a gifted,
All right, thank
and
you.
he just
That was
started
3
classes
minutes.
right now, and that's not fair. Many things.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public comments.
Thank you, Dr. Yuen. And for our public comment, we are now going to move on to item number 14, discussion action items. We are going to consider number 14A, 2022 ballot for California School Boards Association Delegate Assembly, Subregion 23B. I would like to call on Superintendent Dr. Scobarna.
Yes, Madam President. You read the article, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Talks about a delegate with a 2-year term. And basically, for this sub-region 23B, there's one person who's interested, Lizette Mendez, El Monte City School District.
Okay, and then Dr. Scobarna, there is only one candidate, right, that we can choose from and vote from?
That's it.
Okay, so is there a motion to vote for Ms. Lizette Mendez?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, perfect. Let's do a roll call. Vice President Ramirez is absent. Clerk Cabrera?
Aye.
Board Member Magaña?
Aye.
Board Member Uribe?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we are going to consider item 14B, second public notice, Montebello Unified School District's initial sunshine proposal to the California School Employees Association, Chapter 505 for the 21-22 collective bargaining agreement negotiations. Ms. Hakopian, is there a staff report on this item?
Yes, good evening, Madam President Gutierrez, esteemed board member, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna. MUSC leadership, and community participants. Section 3457 of Article 8 of Chapter 10.7 of the California Government Code requires that the Board of Education adopt its initial proposal to employee organizations at a public meeting prior to the start of negotiations. You may recall that the initial proposal from the Montebello Unified School District for collective bargaining agreement negotiations for the 2021-2022 fiscal year was presented to the public at the February 16 regular meeting of the Board of Education. After inviting and hearing public comment, if any, on the initial proposal, I recommend adoption of the following motion: that the Board of Education approves the Montebello Unified School District initial contract sunshine proposal to the California School Employees Association, CSEA Chapter 505, for collective bargaining agreement negotiations as proposed for the 2021-2022 fiscal year as follows: Article 6, wages; Article 7, health and welfare benefits; and Article 10, rights and responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hakobian. Is there any questions from the board?
No questions, but I move to approve the item.
Before we do that, can I ask if there is any public comment, legal counsel or Dr. Yuen on this item?
I can confirm that we did not receive any public comment on this specific item.
Okay, perfect. So I heard a motion. Is there a second to approve this item?
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Vice President Ramirez? Absent. Clerk Cabrera?
Aye.
Board Member Magaña?
Aye.
Board Member Uribe?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we are going to consider item 14C, approval budget adjustments for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. I would like to call on Mr. Allington.
Thank you, Madam President. The approval of the budget adjustments are a normal part of the interim reporting process. It allows the district to adjust its budget to true up the ledgers for the report that's being presented. I recommend that the Board of Education approves the budget adjustments tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Ellingson. Is there a motion to approve this item?
To approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Vice President Ramirez, absent. Clerk Cabrera?
Aye.
Board Member Magaña?
Aye.
Board Member Uribe?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we're going to consider item 14D, approval of the second interim budget for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. I would like to call on Mr. Allington.
Thank you again, Madam President. Mr. Chen? Tonight, we're here to present our second interim report for 2021-2022. Next slide, Mr. Chen. Here's some pictures that I received from folks throughout the district, showing some wonderful things that has been happening in our district this year for 2021-2022. It shows the new furniture, COVID testing, our accelerated learning labs. As you heard tonight mentioned, our sports teams making it into the playoffs, as well as the new HVAC units that have been going up. Very exciting stuff happening. I'll take the next slide, Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen, I'll take the next slide. Here's a listing of some of the things that have been happening in our district that are actually pretty fantastic. As mentioned, the accelerated learning labs, our sports teams making it into playoffs. And any of you coaches out there, please share more pictures with me so that I can include them in future presentations. New furniture, as mentioned, removal of carpet and installation of more hygienic tile where the carpet did exist in the district. As I mentioned, COVID testing available to all district students and personnel. We also had some community school beautification events at Rosewood Park School and Bell Gardens High School that was very successful. We've upgraded our HVAC. There's been HVAC replacements. I'm sorry, filter replacements for the HVAC units, as well as deep cleaning and sanitizing that's been happening in classrooms, as well as acid washing the restrooms. And as the board recently approved, we were awarded more than $3 million from a CalShape grant that it allows the district to assess plumbing and HVAC needs across our district. I'll take the next slide, Mr. Chen. The cycle of financial reports brings us to the second interim, which includes actual data through January 31st of 2022. The board must approve on or before March the 17th of 2022. There are three certifications that the board president will certify: a positive, a qualified, or a negative certification. Tonight, the board will certify a positive certification, which will indicate that the district will meet its financial obligations for the current fiscal year and the 2 subsequent fiscal years. I'll take the next slide. Here is a chart showing our TK-12 enrollment over time. As you'll see, our district, as well as other districts within California, continue to cope with decline enrollment. Decline enrollment is actually a 2-tiered concern. As enrollment declines, so do opportunities for ADA, and that's the largest funding component for school districts in California. I'll take the next slide, Mr. Chen. Here is our multi-year projections for our unrestricted general fund. You'll note that revenues exceed expenditures in every year from the current year to the 2 subsequent years. Where we do run into challenges are our contributions, which consist of the 3% requirement for routine maintenance, as well as special education. You'll note that the fund balance due to this does erode over the years, and this creates a structural erosion, if you will. However, our district is able to meet our reserve for economic uncertainties in all 3 years, which is a requirement. I'll take the next slide. Here is our restricted general fund projections. This data here includes our what are called categorical programs, and they're restricted towards certain services for our students. And you'll see as well, as those grant dollars change, it begins to decline year over year. I'll take the next slide, sir. Here is the projections for the combined general fund, which includes both unrestricted and restricted, which gives an overall picture of what our fund balance looks like over time. We do, as I said, meet our reserve for economic uncertainty. The assigned value, which is like what's available to the district, basically, is listed on the bottom row there. And you'll see that over time, based on the contributions of the overall general fund, how it exceeds our revenue expenditure ratio, does decline over time. I'll take the next slide. These events are not included in our second interim report, and some recommendations. So information subsequent to our second interim includes the governor's budget revision, which is expected May of 2022. Our period 2 attendance data are commonly referred to as P2 attendance, and any personnel changes to the payroll that were board approved after February of 2022. Some recommendations for decline in enrollment and loss of revenue include evaluate district needs for coping with ongoing rising compensated costs, and to reduce and review planned expenditures for non-categorical programs. Are there any questions from the board?
Are there any questions from the board? Dr. Scavarna, did you have any comments to add? I do see you.
No, I would, it was interesting that one of the people tonight mentioned that the district was bankrupt 5 years ago. You guys will remember that that's not far from being true, that you had a negative certified on your budget. That's why I came here. And, but look how much better it's gotten over the years. Look how much hard work you've done to do that. Look at the fact that you are addressing facilities needs, and I think they've been ignored for multiple years. I think you should have a real source of pride with the conversation with the board having very finite and very highly explained issues with school bonds and understanding what your legal rights are and legal requirements. This is a excellent budget. I think that it's a very conservative projection, which is the best way to do it. And I think after the governor passes his budget, there's going to have to be some major changes. Hopefully we can continue a lot of the great programs that you folks have started. And that would be it. I would congratulate the entire business services staff, everyone that works in there, the payroll people, the accountants, you name it, all the folks in maintenance and operations, everyone who's in the business services division, and all the division chiefs and what have you, and the people that do all the actual work really deserve a pat on the back. It's the best budget this district's had for multiple years, and I think that everyone needs to be aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Scavarna. I also wanted to add, thank Mr. Allington and the business services for bringing in a positive certification tonight. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Thank you. If I may, I would like to thank the team. I mean, we have a fantastic finance team here at the district, and I'm really proud of what they do. Thank you so much.
Perfect. I would like to move to approve this item. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Perfect. Let's do a roll call vote. Vice President Ramirez? Absent. Clerk Cabrera?
Aye.
Board Member Magaña?
Aye.
Board Member Uribe?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, are there any items to be pulled from the consent agenda for further discussion and or action? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Perfect. Roll call vote. Vice President Ramirez is absent. Clerk Cabrera?
Aye.
Board Member Magaña?
Aye.
Board Member Uribe?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. Okay, we'll move on to board reports. At this time, I would like to call on Clerk Cabrera. Do you have any reports?
Yes, I just have a quick report. Buenas noches, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I want to thank everyone for the engagement that we've had, for sharing your thoughts, and just want to share that we are listening. And there's a lot of stuff happening, and maybe in the back end that isn't so public, but we are listening to everything that you're saying. Moving along from that, I want to congratulate all of the students who are receiving already acceptance letters. I know that that is very exciting. I know that a lot of work has gone into filling out those applications, and many years of, making sure that you're getting everything in order to be able to get that moment to even apply. So congrats on that. And then also congrats to all of those who completed the FAFSA. I remember filling that out. I remember how scary it was, how much time it was, how much I had to ask my parents. And so just congrats on that. I know that that's a big accomplishment. Other than that, buenas noches. I hope everyone's doing well.
Thank you, Clerk Cabrera. Board Member Uribe, do you have any reports?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Well, first of all, I just want to acknowledge all of the parents. I know some may have logged off, teachers, community members who did join us this evening. Many notes were taken and many conversations will take place after this meeting. And, we've been having these conversations. So these are issues that we're definitely trying to address. I also want to say happy birthday to Dr. Seuss and just, continue to advocate for promoting literacy. Read Across America is happening right now. So we'll continue to read to some classrooms virtually this year, and that's exciting. And then lastly, I want to celebrate and commemorate Women's History Month. And I would like to celebrate my mother, Maria Mendoza. Mom, hoy quiero darte gracias por todo lo que me has dado. En tus brazos ha estado muchas veces mi hogar. En tus palabras mi fortaleza. En tu mirada mi ánimo y en tu sonrisa mi alegría. Gracias, Madre Preciosa, porque en ti has siempre estado mucha fuerza que he tenido durante mi vida. Feliz mes de la mujer and happy Women's History Month to all women. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Board Member Uribe. Next, Board Member Magaña, do you have any reports?
Hi, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I'd also like to congratulate a lot of our student athletes. I did have the opportunity to visit our Bell Gardens High School basketball varsity team as they made their way to CIF quarterfinals. As stated earlier, that had not happened in a very long time. So congratulations to them. I know some of the athletes are being looked at and considered to go on to play to higher universities. So I wish them the best of luck. Ms. Galila Garcia, congratulations to her. She's from Shore High School. She received second place at state, and I believe now she's making her way to national. So congratulations to her. It's amazing to see our young women excelling at a sport that was previously dominated by males, and now they're having this opportunity to excel. So congratulations to her, and congratulations to Miss Catherine Hernandez, who made it to, I believe, second round of the state final. So they both did very proud. I'm very, very excited and happy for them, and I'm very proud of their courage. I also want to congratulate the Montebello High School varsity soccer. I did have a chance to attend that game with Board President Gutierrez. I was very impressed by the turnout. The crowd was huge. The visitor side was completely filled. It was an amazing game. We lost by 1 goal in the very last second, which was quite questionable if you ask me, but our kids played their heart out, and I'm very proud. I believe that they made it out to state finals. So congratulations to them and their hard work and dedication to their sport and their studies. I also want to thank the Sacred Heart of Mary for reaching out. They're intending to donate to us in the district with some, I believe, some wipes. So just thank you so much to the Sacred Heart of Mary. And also I'd like to congratulate all those students that did fill out the FAFSA. As mentioned, it is quite complicated and it can be intimidated. So congratulations to you. As you continue to fill it out, it does get easier, I promise. Also, I'm excited that tomorrow I will have the opportunity to read to some of our students at Rosewood Park School. So I'm looking forward to that. And also on Friday. So with that said, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your public comment. Have a good night.
Thank you, Board Member Magaña. I don't have any reports. Dr. Escobarna, do you have any closing reports?
I would like everyone to take a moment and just think about what's currently going on over there in the Ukraine and what's happening with Russia. And I think it's important for us as a learning institution to use some of this. Kids are going to be asking questions. This thing could easily escalate into being something that would be on par with what happened in Germany during World War II. And I think it's going to be important that people need to explain to the students, our students, of just how terrible it is when these kind of things happen. I don't want to dwell on anything that's negative, but we certainly are blessed in this country, and things that a lot of times become very important to us are really, in the giant scheme of things, when you look at the world stage, maybe not as important as we think they are. That is a real situation over there, and a lot of kids are going to be asking questions. I think it's important that we're prepared to talk to our students, talk to our kids, talk to folks that have interest in this, and explain to them and let them know exactly what kind of things are happening and what happens when people try to brutalize other people. And that would be my thoughts for tonight. Once again, thank you to the business services folks and everything else for that budget. Thank you for the public comments, and that will end my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Scavarna. Do I have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Vice President Ramirez is absent. Clerk Cabrera?
Aye.
Board Member Magana?
Aye.
Board Member Uribe?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. Motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned. Next special meeting will be scheduled for Wednesday, March 16, 2022 at 6 p.m. Good night, everyone.
Good night.